Listen up, Panthers fans, because the vibe in Charlotte is shifting in a way nobody expected, and you need to hear this before the season kicks off. We are talking about massive front office evaluations and a complete change in how the league views our quarterback situation right now. Things are moving fast, and the draft board is already shaking up the future of our secondary in a huge way. If you want to stay ahead of every single move the Panthers make, then subscribe to the channel now. Dan Morgan Panthers is effectively rewriting the playbook for how this organization handles the long-term roster construction, and the betting world is officially taking notice of his vision. When we look at the new betting odds that just dropped, they are doing a deep dive into the impact of the recent free agency moves, and it really paints a picture of a team that is not just playing for Sunday but building a sustainable machine for 2026. This executive has been aggressive in identifying which pieces fit the culture and which ones were just taking up space on the salary cap. The analysis suggests that the roster has actually evolved into something much more formidable than what we saw last year. People outside of North Carolina might not see the vision yet, but the sharp money is starting to move because they see the foundational blocks being laid by the front office leader. Every move made in free agency wasn't just about filling a hole for today. It was a calculated risk aimed at ensuring the squad is peak performance ready when the championship window truly opens in a couple of seasons. It is that kind of gritty, linebacker-turned-GM mentality that is finally bringing some respect back to our name. The front office is operating with a level of precision that we have not seen in years, and inside the building, this raised serious concerns for our rivals who thought we would be at the bottom of the NFC South forever. But what Dan Morgan is doing is essentially proofing the roster against the mistakes of the past, and the betting markets are reacting to the sheer volume of talent being brought in to support the core of this team. We are talking about a total cultural reset that prioritizes toughness and long-term stability over quick fixes that never work out in the end. This prospect of seeing the squad evolve into a powerhouse by 2026 is becoming more real every single day as these moves settle in. And here's the scary part for the rest of the division. The rebuild is ahead of schedule. But what the Panthers are planning to do next at the most important position on the field is where things get really interesting. If you think Dan Morgan is actually cooking something special for our future, smash that like button and drop a "keep pounding" in the comments right now. Bryce Young Panthers is no longer the source of massive anxiety in the Queen City, and honestly, it is about time the narrative caught up to the reality on the ground. The level of concern regarding the quarterback position in Carolina has plummeted drastically over the last few months, and that is not just blind optimism from the fans. It is a direct reflection of the absolute confidence growing in the development of the former first overall pick under the meticulous guidance of Dave Canales. We all knew this young signal caller had the IQ and the arm talent, but the system last year was doing him zero favors. Now, with a coach known for fixing quarterbacks and maximizing their potential, the Alabama product is looking like the superstar we all knew he could be. The reports coming out of practice are electric, and the chemistry between the signal caller and the revamped receiving core is night and day compared to what we endured previously. This is the kind of move casual fans don't understand because they only look at box scores, but the structural changes to the offense are designed to make him successful. There is a sense of calm in the building now because everyone knows the plan is working. The way this kid handles the pocket and processes the field has improved so much that the coaching staff is already opening up more of the playbook than they initially planned. It is a complete 180-degree turn from the panic we saw just a year ago. People are finally starting to realize that the problem was never the talent of this elite passer, but the environment around him. Now that the environment is stable and the coaching is elite, the sky is the limit for our franchise leader. You can feel the energy shift every time he takes a snap, because he is playing with a level of decisiveness that was missing before. This offensive growth is the real deal, and it is going to shock the league when we actually start putting up points in bunches this fall. But while the offense is stabilizing, the front office is looking at the draft to find the next big piece for the defensive side of the ball. Are you officially a believer in the Bryce Young comeback season under Dave Canales? Tell me in the comments if you're hyped or still nervous. Dylan Thieneman Panthers has officially emerged as a primary target for the front office as they look to inject some youth and elite ball-hawking ability into our secondary. The interest in this standout safety from Oregon is a clear signal that the team is preparing for life after veteran Nick Scott. This defensive back has been absolutely lights out in the Pac-12, and his ability to read the quarterback's eyes and cover ground from sideline to sideline is exactly what this defense is missing. The Panthers have been scouting the Duck Star heavily because they see him as a perfect scheme fit for what we want to do defensively moving forward. Replacing a veteran like Nick Scott is never easy, but when you have a chance to bring in a prospect with this kind of ceiling through the draft, you have to pull the trigger. The scouting department is raving about his range and his physicality at the point of attack, which fits that keep pounding identity perfectly. If we can land this safety, it changes the entire dynamic of the back end of our defense, allowing our corners to be more aggressive knowing they have an elite center fielder behind them. It is the kind of savvy draft move that championship teams make to ensure they don't have a drop-off in production when older players move on. The front office is clearly focused on building a young, fast, and physical secondary that can compete with the high-powered offenses in our division. Bringing in the Oregon standout would be a massive statement of intent for the upcoming season. He is a playmaker who forces turnovers, and that is something this defense has been desperate for over the last few seasons. Watching him fly around the field in a Panthers jersey is going to be something special for the fans in Charlotte. The coaching staff is looking for players who have a high football IQ and a non-stop motor, and this kid checks every single box on the list. But how all these pieces fit together is the real story of the offseason. When you look at the full picture of what is happening in Carolina right now, it is clear that Dan Morgan is not interested in just being competitive. He is building for total dominance by 2026. The shift in betting odds is just the first domino to fall in how the national media perceives our rebuild. By focusing on long-term evolution rather than short-term hype, the Panthers are finally acting like a professional organization with a clear vision. The most critical part of this entire puzzle is the massive step forward we are seeing from our franchise quarterback. With the concern levels dropping, it allows the coaching staff and the front office to focus on surrounding him with talent, rather than worrying if they have the right guy under center. Dave Canales has brought a level of stability that was desperately needed, and the results are already showing up in the confidence of the players. Then you add the potential arrival of a young star like the Oregon safety to replace aging veterans. And you see a roster that is getting younger, faster, and much more explosive. This is how dynasties are built in the NFL. You identify your core, you fix the coaching environment, and you aggressively pursue elite talent in the draft to fill specific roles. The synergy between the front office and the coaching staff is at an all-time high, and that translates directly to on-field performance. We are watching the blueprint of a successful rebuild unfold right before our eyes, and the league is still sleeping on just how dangerous this team is going to be very soon. The combination of veteran leadership and young, hungry talent is going to create a culture that opponents hate to play against. This is not just another offseason of hope. This is the beginning of a new era of football in Charlotte that will be defined by toughness and elite execution. We have the right leadership in the front office, the right scheme on the field, and a quarterback who is finally being given the tools to succeed. The interest in the draft is just the icing on the cake for a team that is already moving in the right direction. This is the kind of move casual fans don't understand, but it's how you win championships in this league. The Panthers are no longer a team that other franchises can look past on their schedule. We are building something that is meant to last, and the rest of the NFL better be ready for the storm that is coming from the Carolinas. This is not just another draft prospect or a lucky coaching hire. This could be the next cornerstone of the franchise for the next decade. Keep pounding.